Hey guys, my name is Matthew, and this is my review of The One and Only Ivan by Katherine Applegate. Here we go. The One and Only Ivan is a Newbery Award-winning book about a gorilla who lives in the Exit 8 Big Top Mall and Video Arcade, and it's narrated by the gorilla himself. It's a touching story, and it will hit your heartstring in a whole bunch of different ways. In this review, we're going to be going through some of my observations about the novel, and I'll be listing them from roughly my favorite things about the novel, and then moving through to some of the things that I didn't like about it as much. I absolutely loved the way this was written. The story's narration style was excellent. It's told from first person, first gorilla point of view, because Ivan, the gorilla in the story, is the one who's writing it out. We never kind of hear about how or why the gorilla is able to do this writing, but it's really poignant the way that he writes. Because he's a gorilla, he has very simple sentence structure, and he has very cool similes and metaphors that are a little atypical from what you might hear. There aren't a lot of cliches, except for when they're on purpose. It's a lot of jungle imagery, because that's what the gorilla knows. That's what Ivan knows. And it's really cool the way that we are transported into the mind of the gorilla in this story. Themes rarely go at the top of my list for things I enjoy about a book, but the theme in this book was wonderful. There are a couple of them, but the one that I really liked was the idea that is repeated over and over again, that humans are capable of great beauty, they're capable of great kindness, and they're also capable of great evil. And those ideas are juxtaposed throughout the book. Ivan wrestles with those ideas himself, and he has different characters who wrestle with those ideas with him. And I think that the theme is done so well in the book. Something I really like about this book as being a Newbery is that it's really easy to read. I think something that's really important for a Newbery book is that it is easy to read, that children are interested in it and they want to read it. And I think they made such a good selection this year. It was 2013 that they picked. It was such a good selection that year because this book is so easy to read. It's like a gateway book that leads you to wanting to read other books. I really, really appreciate that this book this year was super easy to read. It makes it a great selection for a Newbery. Another thing that really helped with that is the characters are so lovable and relatable. There's an elephant in particular that you love. Actually, both elephants in the story you grow to really love. And the characters, even though they're animals, or maybe because they're animals, they're really easy to enjoy and to experience well and to feel like you really get to know them. I really enjoyed the characters in this novel. I also really liked how in the novel we wrestle with some real issues. Even though it's a children's book and some of the issues are really tough, as far as there's a couple trigger warnings we might talk about in just a second, but they're done in such a good way, and we wrestle with real issues. A lot of times, because it's a children's book, it's easy to say, oh, well, we'll just, kind of float by those things. But in this book, we actually tackle them, and we actually get an opportunity to think through them and mess with some of those real issues in our mind. A couple things I didn't like as much, maybe a trigger warning for really small children and just kind of a parental advisory, is there is animal abuse, I think. And not just kind of animal abuse, there's some relatively graphic things that are talked about, although they're not, we're not looking at the blood and the gore or anything like that, but just sometimes animals in particular are hard to watch suffer, and that happens in this book a bit. I also was a little disappointed in just how short the book is. It feels like there could have been more, although obviously, because of the style, it makes sense that it was short. It just felt like it was over so quickly. So who is this book for? I think this is a great book to start introducing some of the concepts of evil in humankind to young readers, actually. I think if you think your child is ready for this, it could be for a child as young as maybe 4 or 5 as a good book to start getting them interested in books. I think also older readers may find the themes very poignant and interesting to be able to kind of wrestle with and talk about. Even for an adult reader such as myself, I really enjoyed the book, and I think that you might as well. I think this book is really well written. There's a reason it was a Newbery winner, and they made a really good choice this year. I have a hard time not recommending this book for anyone, except for maybe someone who is particularly appalled by animal abuse. You may find that a little bit hard to read through. The book is relatively sad and ends on a semi-happy note, but still with very sad undertones, actually. It's realistic in that way. I really enjoyed The One and Only Ivan, and I think that the author, Katherine Applegate, did an amazing job with it. I think this is a book that you'll probably enjoy. And it's a short enough read that you should be able to knock it out in a day or two if you really felt like it. This has been my review of The One and Only Ivan by Katherine Applegate. If you enjoyed this review, please feel free to like and subscribe, and as always, stay safe out there.